Hi, good day. I'm trying to showcase to you how to create a process in HotKup. Let's say you have, firstly, let's create a new category of work. We call it support work. It could be any type of support work that you do for your clients. It could be a query, or it could be some service that they require, anything. So it doesn't have to be specific. Then we select the people who can work on in that category. I'm going to select all these people. Let's say this and Michael Brown, and these are the people who are the admins of the category. What does it mean by admins? These are the people who can see all the work within that category of work, which is a support work. The members can only see the tasks that they are involved in. They cannot see tasks that they are not involved in. That is a differentiation. So I click on save, and you will see the new category has been created, which is support work. You click on the category, and then you see here on the top right, workflow settings. Let's add a workflow. We call it support process. It could be anything, as I said. And once this process is created, click on close, and you click on this part. So let's call it inquiry details, where you capture the inquiry detail or the details of the support call. Then most likely you will analyze the requirement, or the request, analyze request. That's the second part, let's say. Then you probably may assign it to a specific person. Assign a request, somebody in your team, and let's call it 40, where you say complete work. You can call it anything you want, but in this case I'm just calling it complete the work. And then get 50 is that inform client that the work has been completed, and if they are satisfied, let's say client approval. The client is approved, and then the ticket is closed or the request is completed. When in this case the process stops here. So whenever a process ends, you actually go to the end stage and say yes and add. Now here you will see that the number 70 has a red mark here. That means it's an end stage. All right. Do we need to number them 10, 20, 30, 40? Not necessary. You can name them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will tell you why I prefer personally to number them as 10, 20, 30, 40 as we go on. Now your basic workflow process is completed. Let's see how it looks. I go back here. I click on this drop down, say create task using workflow. I click on support work, that's the category that we created, and the support process, that's a process that we created. All right, then it starts with summary. I think I've logged in as Michael Brown, so I'm going to log in as here. I can add other people within the category and say new client request. If the client is already in your database or within HotKup, you can tag the request to the client. For example, in this, I don't think we have any clients, so that's why you're not seeing a drop down. But if they were, then you can actually tag them from here. And I click on here and say send task. All right. Now you see, I've got this because I'm the assignee, I'm the creator, and also the assignee. I've logged in as Michael Brown. You will see the task in few places. Firstly, in my inbox because I'm assignee. Let's say I was not an assignee, I had assigned it to somebody else. I will see that in my sent items, and you'll also see that in the support work category. That's a category that we had created. Okay, now let's go here, click on this, and we are in the inquiry detail stage. Next is we analyze the request. That's a stage that we created. What does the client really want? How do we address it? Now that you know, oh, this is what the client requires, then you need to assign it. You click on assign request, and when you assign the request, you can go here and select the person that you want to add to the request. You can remove everybody. Let me say I remove everybody, and I'm assigning it to James Wilson, and I update it. Now the work has been assigned to James Wilson. All right, now it's gone away from my inbox, but it's still there in the sent items because I created the client. I created the ticket, and you can see it's now gone to James Wilson, and the James can actually see all the stages in the process, and it is marked completed. That's how it works. That's your basic part of it. All right, let's go back here. Admin settings, categories, support work, workflow settings, and support process. These are the ones. Now, let's say what happens if the client doesn't approve? Well, how do we manage that part? How do we handle those cases? So what we do is 61 and say client approves. That's the good part about it. Let's say you go to the client approval. That means you've submitted the thing to the client. Then the client approves, and then it's completed. But it happens that revision required. They need some changes to the support or the service that you've given. Then we can put in as here 61 and add it, and revision is required. All right. Now, what happens if you have revision is required or rework is required? Actually, let's change it. I want to show you how easy it is to change the labels as well. Instead of revision, I say rework required, and you modify it. It's as simple as that. Okay. Now, what happens if there's rework required? You need to go back to complete work, isn't it? There's somebody who's actually who's doing the work has to redo it. I go here, click on this, and select complete work. Now, if the client doesn't approve and they need a rework, it goes back to complete work stage. Let's have a look how it looks like and see. Click on this, drop down, task using workflow, support work, support process, use workflow. I'm going to give it to myself, Michael Brown, testing process, and I send. Okay, I click on this. You can see there's a new ticket, that is number 22. The first one is inquiry details. Then you analyze the request, what's actually happening. Then you go to assign the request. Here I won't change it, I'll keep it to myself. And then what happens? Somebody has to do the work to complete the work. We go to that stage, and then you inform the client that the work is completed. After that is done, you wait for the client approval, and then you have two options here: client approves or rework required. Let's click on rework required. What happens here? You see, rework required, and then it goes to complete work. That means you're redoing the work here. Inform the client, client approval, and in this case I say select client approves, and the process is completed. So that's your workflow management as far as stages are concerned. Is that good? Yeah, it's okay, but how do we capture information? That's the info part, right? In HotKup, you capture information using forms. I click on forms, I click on new, and I say client request. Let's name the thing. You can name anything. And here I drag and drop the form. I build the form. Let's say company name. I can put in 2 row, or I can put in 2 column thing here. I put in here, I drag and drop it here, and I can say contact person. Here I can say mobile number, and You can actually put in a text area and say service required, and if there is any attachment that they want you to submit, or some sort of a error message or some other document that they want to submit, you can add this here and say additional information. You can add anything that you want here. Let's say we have to add a multi-select part. I go here and I select and put in this multi-select area of concern, and it could be, let's say social media related, or it could be accounting related or bookkeeping related. So you can put up that various options here. I click here and say save form template. The form has been saved. You can create as many forms as you want, and I click on category. I go back to the support work, the category that we created. I click on workflow settings. I go to the support process, and now I link the form that we just created. The form that we just created was client request, and then I click on this and I can select when I need the form to be attached. For example, here I say required during task creation, and I add it. Okay, so how does this help? Now when you create that support ticket support process, yeah, go back here, support work, support process, use workflow. Now you see the form comes here, right? I click on this. Again, I'm going to give it to myself and say new client request, new client request, and here company name, let's say, I don't know, listen. You put in some contact person, John Smith, and they have a phone number, whatever their mobile number is, and you can say the social media post is incorrect. As an example, if they have any file that they want to attach, they can click on this and they say and attach the part here. They can just, I'm just going to attach some document here. We call it, let me see which is not a very big one. Yeah, let's attach technical proposal 2, and it's related to social media, so I select this and send it. All right, so that is if they're calling you on a phone and saying, okay, I have a problem, then this comes up, and the person who's going to see next in the process, they get to see this thing and they can process it. That's the idea behind it. Now, the few things that we can do with this, you don't want, let's say you want to publish the form right to the on your website. How do we manage that? We click on forms configuration, we click on new, and say client request. Let's say your company name, and let's call it Brilliant Company. You put in your company logo. We select the category, which is support work. We select the workflow, in this case the support process. You select the form that we just attached, and we say new request, new request. Who is going to be the owner of the task? In this case, I'm going to put it as Michael Brown. Who will handle the initial contact? Let's put in all the people. It could be more than one person, and I click on save. All right. It takes a few seconds. Once it's done, now you click on generate link. I'm copying the link and I'm posting it in a new browser window, and you will see this has come up. Company name, contact person, service request, mobile, what is this type of a thing. I'm going to make something very different company name, because I don't know what can we call the company name as Air Botswana. That's where I'm from, so that's the first company that comes into this thing. Let's say there's a company name is Air Botswana, contact us Peter Matter, a service required, bookkeeping issue, and I select bookkeeping issue. I might want to add a file, it doesn't matter. I put in the mobile number and I say submit. So this is done externally. The person doesn't have to be a user in HotKup. You can put this in your website, send it to your customers so that they have a link of this all the time whenever they need to interact with you. Information is submitted. It takes about 3 minutes for the system to generate a new task, new ticket within your thing. So you see this 3 minutes. It'll take 3 minutes for it to come in. Remember this number 23. The new one that is going to come is going to become 24. While we wait for it, I want to show you a few things. Click on admin settings, categories, support work, workflow settings, support process. You can set up who the process or the task should be given to. Let's say inquiry comes in, it should be given to these 3 people. For example, I can modify it. And now these people will handle it. Let's say there's only one person who should be analyzing the request. I can go here and say select Michael Brown, and I can say modify. So like that, you can, for everything that you do here, you can say this stage has to be only done by this person, only done by this person. You can do that. Now, in this case, which is a bit different than others, you have to assign the request to somebody. It has to be assigned to somebody in your organization, but you don't know who at the time the ticket has come in or the task has come in. You can click here and then select dynamically assigned users, and we modify it. Okay, that's one thing. So we'll have a look at this, how this will perform as we go on, and from there we'll come back. All right, let's see. Let's close this thing. Let's go back here. You see 24 has come in. It was filled from outside the HotKup system, and you will see Air Botswana. You see, you can't forget. The Air Botswana is the thing, so I filled it from outside. So and then the process comes in. I go to analyze request. You can see that here, and then it goes to assign request. Now listen, we said dynamically assign users because from here I do not know who I should assign the work to. I click here, and then I can select whom I should assign the work here. All right, I'll select it to Ethan. I'll also select it to Michael, and also David, and then I say assign request. Then I say proceed. Okay, takes a few seconds. Now you'll see all these 3 people have been given the work. That is the thing when you say you don't know who the next person is, so you can actually make it easy by giving dynamically assign. And then the process continues. Now what I want to show you again is, let's do some more things. I can click on categories, support work, workflow settings, support process. Okay, like that. So I've told you how this assignees works. You know how to create the stages within your process, and how the stages can fork between the different things, how to add the stages in case you missed out something, right? Now let's say you come to a situation where you want to know if the payments are up to date before you process it, right? Remember, some services are suspended. How do you do that? How do we add a stage? Simple. You click on this. This is a stage. After this, you want to check if the payment is correct, and say put in 11, and say payment account active account, and you say add. All right, or under 11 it could be suspended account. And in this case, you want to stop it here. You don't want to proceed with the thing. The guy didn't, this account is suspended. You add it, and it becomes an end stage. So your process ends here. Okay, we'll have a look at it. So this is the main part of it. I've shown you how to create these things, how to attach a form to specific stages. Because every stage might require a different sort of information. When you require a different sort of information, you actually make the form, and then you attach it to a specific stage. That's basically what happens. We also have some more features here. For example, client notifications. At any given time, you want to notify the client to say that I've received your ticket and we are working on it. You can actually put in here and say, we have received, RECE, I received your request and the team is working on it. Sorry. And here and say, team, brilliant. And then you can see who should be notifications have to go. Automatically, when you reach this stage, your clients will get this message. Here, for example, your request is completed. Please confirm if, or let's say, please contact us in case of any further information required. Please ignore my language part. I'm not probably the best in drafting messages, but here, and again here you go on here and then you can say all the things have to happen, save all the people in your client gets a notification, and it is done. Okay, that's the thing. So you can set up a message that goes to your client automatically at every stage to keep them informed without them trying to calling you every time and saying, oh, what's happening here, what's happening there. That's the idea behind it. We also have the escalation process. So for example, if this is not done within 24 hours, first escalation, you notify the task owner to say, listen, why is it not working, it's overdue. And if it is not happening in 48 hours, then you can add the admin, category admin, as a follower. In that case, you can, let's say, notify the category admin. In that case, the administrator of the category or the manager of the category of work, which is support process, will get an email to say there is a task that is not being attended to within the agreed time. That's the idea behind it. You click on save and it is done. All right, so that's how the notifications work. You can put escalations work. My apologies. And let's say you have complete work. You want somebody to do that in 96 hours, for example. And what happens if you don't do it? Notify the task assignees, notify the task owner. And if this is not done in, let's say, 128 hours, then you add category administrators as a thing. Notify the administrator as add category admin as a follower. What does this mean by category administrators? The manager of the category is added as one of the people doing the task. All right, click on save and it is done. All right, let's have a look how it feels. Click on this. I click on task using workflow, select support work, support process, use workflow. You can see already these people have been pre-selected. You're not adding them here. And say new request from Air Botswana. If the client is in the database, you can see that here. Air Botswana, Peter John, and say social media post issue. And they select this is the area of concern. We send it. And you see that new 125 has come in. And then you have whether it's active account or suspended account, and you can click on this if it's suspended and the process stops here. So that's your basic way to create your workflow processes, put in adding forms to a specific stage, escalations, and informing your clients. Let me finish off with the reporting part of it. You go here and you want to know where your work is sitting. In this case, let's select all the priorities, everything. And here you select the support work, the process, the category, the process that you want to see the report, and you say all in this case and say generate report. All right, we have 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these are available to you. You can have a look at it in the Kanban view. In the Kanban view, you see where your work is sitting. This is where it is, completed. So you know exactly at what stage where your work is sitting. And you also have the dashboard view where you can see If it's anything is overdue, where your work is getting stuck, all those things is available for you. And in the general reports, you can download this in PDF or an Excel format. And you can also modify. For example, I don't want the task number. I don't want it. I don't want the note. I want to know the status. I don't want the category, for example. I don't want a creator on stage. I want a created on stage. I don't need to know the category. I can bring this to the top here, an assignee name. So, this is how it can be done. All right, that's basically what it is.